something you said really means a lot to me, and I was thinking about talking about this anyway.
Please.
The difference between optimism, I want to run this by you. The difference between optimism and hope. Because optimism exists in categories. You're either optimistic or you're pessimistic. And there's these two characters. Are you more optimistic about this or are you more pessimistic? What do you think about it? And what kept bothering me was every time Donald Trump does a speech, we'll make a better deal with China. We'll build a wall. We'll kick them out. We'll build a thing where they have to pass a certain test. We'll just make it better. How many of you know that thing, which is, well, we'll just fix it? It's very, very, very optimistic, but somehow it also feels like bullshit. Does anybody know what I'm talking about? You're not inspired, but you should be by somebody who says, we can fix that, we can do that, we can rally that, we can make that racist again, we can do this. But does anybody know what I'm talking about, where it's incredibly optimistic and yet it doesn't inspire you? Which normally when somebody's like, oh yeah, we can do something about that. Oh yeah, I've got some jumper cables and some peanut butter and some duct tape. We can figure that out, right? You're like, oh yeah, can do, right? We can be. But yet how come that doesn't work? And then I was reading this mystic who was quoting, interestingly enough, the letter to the Romans. Stay with me, Petey. Where the writer says, we also glory in our sufferings because we know that suffering produces perseverance. Perseverance produces character, and character, hope. And hope does not put us to shame because God's love has been poured out into our hearts. So what's really interesting to me is that the writer here links hope to suffering and says, oh, no. The people who have hope are the ones who have actually know how hard and difficult it is. They've actually been kicked around. They've been through the dark night of the soul, and they had all of these moments where they either took the monster on or they ran back to the village. They either let themselves get sliced up and bleed, but they stayed in it. And what happens when they stayed in it and they persevered is it created something in them. Like that thing that normally would have knocked me flat on my back, it knocked me down, but I got back up. So the next time it comes at me, I'm not as fearful as I once was. Anybody know what I'm talking about? And so essentially the suffering produces this sort of character, spinal fortitude is my language for it. And that produces this perseverance, produces this character, and then character produces hope. So when someone's like, well, we're going to do this, and we're going to do this, and then I'm going to do that, and then I'm going to build a wall, and then I'm going to continue to hold women down, and then I'm going to... What it is all this stuff can be fixed easy, but you know that anything matters that would actually make our country, the world, whatever, a better place is going to take all sorts of resistance and suffering and perseverance and character. Do you know what I'm talking about? And that's, to me, the optimism is, oh yeah, we can go do that. Hope is, yeah, we can do that, but it's going to take everything we have, and it might take a while, and it might involve a lot of weeping, and it might involve a couple of dark nights, and we might get hungry and bloodied, but at some point we'll get there. And I think, like what you were talking about just now is hope, but it's an earned hope. It's a hope that's been through doubt, alienation, loss, divorce, pain, ridicule, bombing, and that's actually what makes you hopeful. You want to be a hopeful person, go into the heart of all of your despair and difficulty. Don't avoid it. They always say, if you're going through hell, don't stop. Keep going. Because what happens is it produces something in you. As Rumi says, feel the heat of the oven. When you feel the heat of the oven, it produces something in you. And I think that's what's happening now in our political climate that is so sort of weirdly charged from Twitter, is you have people going, I'm going to fix this, I'm going to fix this, and it's a contest between who can fix it faster. I think actually what you're going to see, maybe not this cycle, but the next one in 4 years, is someone's going to come along and be like, yeah, I think our country could be good again if we all get together and suffer well. Do you know what I mean? Like, I think we can have a better future if we're all willing to actually go through the fire together. And that, I think, is why there's a difference between being optimistic and having hope. Yeah. And I think that's what you were just talking to now and witnessing to from your own life. You have tremendous hope. I do too. But it's not because of, like, oh, I think this will be okay. It's because we've been kicked around. I have a friend who's been criticized. And you either go through that, and if you actually leave the village and stop eating the chicken, you go without the chicken, and you end up in the woods, and you slay the monster. Now you actually have a shot at hope and joy. That's how I think it works. There. That was in my bucket. That was in my box.